Hey guys, it's Zach here and how's everyone doing? In today's video I'm going to be talking about why and how I became a Christian, just like my previous two videos, talking about how I got to this point. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So, I've basically been a Christian my entire life. I've never known anything other than it. I mean, I've grown up in a Christian family, Christian grandparents, great grandparents. It goes very far back into my history. Originally coming from Salvation Army backgrounds, which is of course also a charity as well as a church. And they do great work for the homeless. They're known for their brass bands. My dad plays in a brass band. And basically this was the kind of atmosphere which I grew up in for many years of my life. I used to pretend to conduct. I used to stand on the chairs in the middle of a Sunday morning service. I used to stand up with my own stick and pretend to conduct the band, and I had all these old ladies laughing, and basically I was quite well known in the community as my dad is the principal cornet, meaning he's the head cornet, the best one. So pretty much I lived this way for many years of my life. Obviously I never questioned it, and I never really knew what it was all about until probably about year 6 or year 7, and that was when we moved over to a church called Cranley Community Church, and that's fairly local for me. It's a few miles away, and basically we moved there because it has better youth facilities. So we thought whilst me and my sister are growing up, we've moved there. And there were various clubs, various activities that you could do during the actual Sunday morning service, which was like Sunday school basically, and it was really fun. I was never really into creative stuff like sticking and gluing, but it was all about education, 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 which I've talked about in my veganism video, and that's what it's all about really, just teaching the truth. And I got a lot of my knowledge from the people there, which have now stepped down as they've got a bit older, but it was a great time, and it was a real time of learning and development, and my relationship with Jesus just completely got, strengthened in so many ways. And I feel that during this time it was when I really discovered myself and formed a relationship with Jesus, like individually, if you know what I mean, like rather than being guided by all these parents and you don't really know what's going on and you just go with the flow. This is the time where I actually started experiencing things that I hadn't done before, and it was really strange, but at the same time it was very comforting. And a few years later, probably about 2 or 3 years ago now, a guy called Ben Goddard Fletcher, he's about 4 years older than me. He was leading the youth group which I used to go to on a Sunday morning, which I now help lead. But basically he was leading it back then. He was 17, 18. He went for the sixth form at the school I went to. When I first joined the school, he was one of the top years. He was just leaving sixth form. And basically he's been a massive influence on my life. He's lived by example. He's extremely friendly, extremely intelligent. I mean, he did the best out of everyone, and our school is one of the best in the country. So he got straight A stars in 5 subjects, and most people only take 3 or 4, and it's incredibly impressive to get A stars in them. And then he went on to go and do, I think it's medicine at Cambridge. And you can imagine, I don't really need to explain anything more than that. Cambridge is basically one of the best universities in the world. Medicine is one of the hardest things to study. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. And he put all of this down to his relationship with Jesus and his faith in God, because although he did study a lot and he was a complete sweat, like I'm sure he won't mind me saying that he was definitely a geek. He was into his Star Trek and his Marvel comics, but I do really think that his focus and determination was down to the fact that he just wants to do good in the world and share the good news of Jesus, as of course he's studying medicine so that he can go to so that he can become a GP here, earn lots of money, then fly over to Africa and be a church doctor and help loads and loads of third world countries and share the good news, I guess. So I hear you asking, what is the good news? Well, basically the idea is that we all do wrong. Everyone knows that they do wrong. we all have an idea of what morals, what's good and bad, and when we do bad, we call it sin. And basically, according to God's rulebook of all the laws, it's extremely difficult. It's basically impossible. Well, it is impossible to completely be perfect throughout your whole life. Everyone knows this. So basically, that's why Jesus came. He came to live a perfect life, die on the cross, so that because God is just, he has to punish us against his rules. However, because Jesus came, he's basically taken all the punishment on the cross and accepted our sins, so that when we ask for forgiveness, the sins get put on Jesus, and then we are then seen as perfect, and then we get to go to heaven. But that was an absolutely terrible explanation, and obviously in future videos I'm going to be talking about the specifics of it, the details, as that's just completely off the top of my head and probably puts you off Christianity even more, because it's so badly explained and seems like it's all a bit weird. But trust me, from my perspective, it's completely logical, it makes absolute sense, and pretty much from the information that I know and the experiences I've had in my lifetime, there is no doubt in my mind that God and Jesus and stuff is real. I mean, I'll go into it in detail in different videos, but I've had experiences which I cannot put down to coincidence or some kind of hallucination. I mean, I'm sure in my mind that all of that stuff exists. But pretty much, I didn't really become Christian, as I always have been Christian, but the turning point was when I was in year 6 or 7. I really discovered myself at my new church, and especially with a few influences that I had, and a few people on YouTube which I've been following, one of them being Clayton Jennings and Lecrae. His music is great. I really do tune into the lyrics. But yeah, I know this video hasn't been really that exciting. I apologise for that, but it's not really as major as my other two videos. It's not like obviously Tarquin didn't make me become Christian. He's atheist, and I'll probably have some debates with him on my channel in some point in the future. But yeah, nothing really significant in this video. It's just an introduction to future videos where I'll make videos going into detail in different topics. But if you managed to get to this point in the video, then give yourself a pat on the back right now. I'm waiting. Yeah, you actually do it. Yeah. Have you done it yet? I'm not going to carry on. I'm not going to continue if you don't do it. Give yourself a pat on the back. Okay, well, if you haven't done it, then you've just wasted like 20 seconds of your life just listening to me. But thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a like. Share it with your friends, as obviously my channel is getting smaller now after the Tour de France. But we got to keep it growing, get the vegan message out there, get the Christian message out there, and obviously express to the world how great cycling is for your health and enjoyment and everything. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time with some other video. But until then, stay safe, take care.